Hi everyone. Now, in this one, let us try to demystify what data science and machine learning is. In this particular one, we'll try to understand what exactly do we mean by data science, what are the applications, how do we go around it, what are the learning paths, right? I am Anirudh Kalbande. I'll be taking this session for you guys. I am founder and director at Fireblaze AI School. Now, let us move this guy at the side. Let me just minimize my face as well. Perfect. So now the agenda for this webinar or this session will basically be that what is the use of data in today's world? How is all of this data generated? What are the facts and current trends within the data? And what is the difference between data analysis, data science, machine learning, and how do we process the entire machine learning similar to the human learning? And what basically are the tools involved, right? So we'll try to understand all of this slowly, step by step, and try to dive deep into it. Perfect. Now, as we have heard of this a lot, so let us try to begin this with a quote that information is oil of 21st century and analytics is like combustion engine. This is said by the Peter, who is the senior vice president at Gartner, and this is one of the very famous quotes what we listen around. Now, what do we mean by this basically? So, as we all know that oil has been the major content, right? The oil has been everywhere. If you have oil, then you will win, right? So, but tell me one thing, if you don't know how to combust it, if you don't know how to make use of oil, if you just burn it down, right? Would you be able to run your cars? Would you be able to generate the electricity? No, right? If you are not knowing how you will combust the oil, you cannot leverage the oil. Similarly, information is oil of today and data is oil of today, that is 21st century, and analytics is combustion engine. So if you don't know how to analyze your data, even if you are sitting on a pile of information, on a pile of data, you will be able to do nothing, right? So this is what is the meaning of this quote, which is very deep. That is, information is oil of 21st century and analytics is combustion engine. Now, if we move ahead, let us first try to discuss what exactly do we have over here. So how do airline industries leverage data? What do you think? What do you think? What exactly is this? You can see me and the plane on the screen, right? Forget about me. Look at the Etihad airline plane. How do you think the airline industries must be leveraging this? What is your call over it? Pause the video for 2 seconds if you want and try to think of all the use cases which might be coming into your mind, that how a simple flight or a simple airline industry might be leveraging the data. Let me tell you. I'll just note down some general insights what I generally get whenever I give sessions across the globe. One thing could be they could predict out price, right? They could nowadays everyone is like they'll go from the incognito window, they'll check up for the price, and then maybe later on they'll check up from their own ID, log in and check. So dynamic pricing is one of the very good use case of data science, which is depending on how the tickets left and what is the requirement, the prices of the flights keep on fluctuating, right? Which call it as a dynamic pricing. Then you could also think to how do they navigate. That could also be an application of data, like which is the shortest path and finding it from the navigation and all of those things. Third application could be to get an understanding about the demand. Where exactly on which route do you have the highest demand of the flight, right? Or which route the flight should operate. Whether it should be, say, Washington to New York, or say Mumbai to Delhi, or Dubai to Mumbai. Whatever is the best route which should be taken. Which route are most of the people traveling? Pre-pandemic days, post-pandemic days, which are the flights which should be start at the earliest, and all of those things, right? So understanding the demand. Then fourth use case which I generally get is like they'll try to understand their audience, like who is traveling, how was their experience, what is the feedback, and all of those things, right? So these are the general like the insights which I get whenever I try to show everyone this figure. Now what I'll try to show you is that if we move ahead, one of the core use case which lies for the airline industries is that, can you see this? Etihad Airline uses technology to harvest. So what these guys have done nowadays is they have embedded thousands of sensors within the flight, and from those thousands of sensors they are trying to extract gigabytes of data daily within seconds, and that data is of basic senses, like what is the temperature, what is the pressure, what is the vibration in that particular part, and all of those things. So from those thousands of sensors, large amount of data is being collected daily, and then this data is used to identify on a real time that how do we should manage the fuel, and on top of it, which part would have failure when. So what we basically call it as product quality control or predictive maintenance. When would be the time of the flight to undergo maintenance, which part is to be changed when, what could go under wear and tear. So all of these things they can actually do by understanding the trend of those senses and those insights from those numbers. They'll try to map down and try to understand that, okay, so do you remember that whenever a crash happens or whenever a particular flight is by God's fate it is crashed, right? What is it that they find out first? Obviously they'll look up for the people, survivors. Then after that, what do they look up for? They try to find out the black box, right? And we have always heard that black box has certain information, and then they'll do the investigation and find out that what exactly went wrong. So that black box has the last information before the flight got crashed. That information is not being transmitted to the centers, right? So it has basically that kind of crucial information, and they try to understand those patterns, and then the history is being studied, like how was the trend for reaching that till that threshold. It won't happen that one fine day a particular part just got failed or wear and teared. It would follow a sequence of events. So they try to understand the sequence of events from the historic data until that point is reached when it actually got failed. And then if they find out next time when such trend or when such pattern is being occurred or it's moving in that direction, they'll replace the part. So without even that problem, finding out, spotting the problem before even that happens is like predictive failure or predictive maintenance is one of the huge application which is going on in all of these industries, right? Now you can imagine Tesla, self-driving cars, they might also be using all of such things. And if you go ahead, what you can see Mr. Amir Khan, right? And beside him, there's me as well. But don't look at us. Look at the picture behind Mr. Amir Khan. It's Satyamev Jayate, right? How do you think that the entertainment industry must be leveraging data science? Do you have any idea about it? Again, pause your video for 2 seconds and think about it, that what exactly they must be doing in the entertainment industry so as to leverage the data and have that series as a huge success. This has been a very huge success series or entertainment show in India, basically. So the series is like they'll discuss some social or socio-economical issues in India, and then they'll try to find out and do some interviews, and then they'll try to solve those issues on pan-India level. So say for example, dowry is an issue, like the girl marriage when they do, right? They give dowry to the male side. So say no to dowry, that was a trending hashtag on Twitter, right? Then there is a Me Too hashtag as well, which is pretty famous. So what these guys basically did was, I'll just move to the next deck. What these guys basically did was that they tried to decide which is a controversial issue which needs to be looked up for and brought in front of everyone. They tried to give prioritized, and they tried to map down which is the warm issue or which is the hot or the trending topic which needs to be solved urgently. They were trying to analyze the data of Twitter. So on Twitter, they were trying to map down that how many times a hashtag Me Too or a hashtag Say No to Dowry is being used all over India, or any particular hashtag, trending hashtags. They were actually finding it up. And this project was with one of the companies which I have been associated with, and a friend of mine has been working on the same project. So I have a brief understanding about how it works. They were trying to actually map down all the tweets which were taken down. So like say hashtag Me Too. If that tweet is in only a particular part of India, right? If it's in only in say Rajasthan or Delhi, people from the southern regions won't be interested in knowing much about it. So what they'll do is they'll try to understand that isn't that issue across all the geographies. And if it is across all the geographies, they'll try to map it down and then try to understand that how exactly this is being solved and how they can solve it. And what is the weight of this issue? Is it being talked everywhere or not? Are people concerned about it or not? So they used to get the hot topic from Twitter's data analysis, and then they used to make an episode over it. And then everyone knows what happens. It's actually pretty famous, right? Now, there is one more use case with respect to this, like the Netflix, the Amazon originals, how they are making their series right now. So there is one of the famous series called as House of Cards. I'm not sure how many of you have seen it. It's one of the very good series by Kevin Spacey. He's the lead actor over there. But it didn't had eventually the 4th season or the 5th season of it. So finale season is not being there yet. But yeah, the plot is like they found out that there is a huge correlation between the people who are watching a series based on the UK's politics, like how the Winston Churchill and all the UK prime ministerial and the royal are dealing with the politics. So the same audience who is watching that kind of a series, there's already a series from early days. So people who are watching that series are also following US politics, White House politics, and are also having a trend, or they are tending towards watching movies by Kevin Spacey. So there was a huge correlation between all of these three things, like people watching that series from UK, people watching movies from US politics, following US politics, and then people who are also following this actor Kevin Spacey. So what they did is they created a theme around US politics, took Kevin Spacey as a lead actor, and kept the plot same as the series which was already there. And that series was a huge hit. It got huge amount of applaud. Right? So like this, basically you can find out what could be a trending topic and how you could go around it and all of those things. So basically this is how entertainment industry is running right now, and they are leveraging data science. Then the next could be like in politics, how Obama has used the the Facebook data to advertise and all of those things. Now like moving ahead, this is like one of my favorite decks, so I'll just try to look up for it. So this I have got this from one of the sources on the internet. Now what this says is like these are the general facts, how the data is being generated. This is a year-old photo which I have, but it is very wonderful. Around 2.9 million seconds, within a second, 2.9 million emails are being exchanged. So can you imagine what amount of emails we are exchanging within a day? Each household, the data consumed is around 375 megabytes. Now, do you have any kind of IoT, Internet of Things based application at your home? How many of you use Alexa or Siri or Google Home? Very few right now, right? When I'm shooting this video in 2021, I don't think that a lot of people use it in India. If I ask this question in session, I'll get like out of 10, I'll have 1 or 2 people. So around 10 or 20%. But these people are generating data at so much high level that when you are dividing this by the total population, 375 megabytes is coming in everyone's pocket. So you can imagine how much amount of data these guys are generating who are using IoT based applications at their home. Then 20 hours of content is being uploaded on YouTube every minute. You can imagine. This is pre-pandemic stats. So you can imagine after COVID, what must be the different statistics. Data processed by Google is 24 petabytes. I'm sure you might be not aware about what is this petabytes. The maximum what we think is megabytes, gigabytes, and TBs, right? Terabytes. And then we'll try to figure out what 24 petabytes as well mean. Tweets made per day is like around 50 million. Total minutes spent on Facebook each month is around 700 billion. So you can imagine how much data or how much revenue does the Facebook makes by asking us our view hours, our time, right? Then data sent and received by mobile internet users is 1.3 exabytes. Exabytes, right? We'll talk about exabytes again. And this is one of my favorite products sold on Amazon per second is 72.9. So you could imagine, like, even if he makes 1 cent or 1 rupee a product, how much revenue he eventually ends up generating, right? So if we move ahead, 1 petabyte is like 10 lakh gigabytes and 1 exabyte is like 1,000 petabytes, right? So that is the amount of data which is being processed nowadays. And trust me, no one expected this data to come. Now, these are the current facts. These are like the ones which I've taken very recently. This is like from Jan 2021. Okay. So the total world's population is around 7.83 billion, out of which the people who live in the urban areas is like 54.4%. In which unique mobile users is like 5.22 billion, which is like 66.6% of the entire population. So you can imagine if everyone is having smartphones and 5.22 billion people are having smartphones, what amount of data they might be generating every day, right? And out of that, 4.66 billion, that is 59.9% of the entire population, people are basically using internet. So they are leveraging Google, Yahoo, email IDs, all sorts of things. It's like audience is 4.66 billion. And out of that, 4.20 billion, that is almost 53.6, which is above 50% of the entire population, are active social media users. So they are using WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, anything, right? LinkedIn. So 4.20 billion people are on social media channels today. So you could imagine what amount of potential lies in digital advertisements, in selling e-commerce products, or in e-education, or any kind of thing which is related to the internet. And that's all the source of data which is right now on the table, right? And we didn't imagine this to happen real soon. And why is it happening today? It's just because of the high-end infrastructure which we are having as of now. Because of the high-end internet speed and the good processing units, the mobile phones, the laptops, what we have, we are able to consume a data a little faster. And because of that, everyone is leveraging it. And so the data generation is going up by a very high pace. And this eventually leads to all these use cases, right? And therefore, there is a huge demand for data science, data analysis, AI, machine learning, and all of these things. And this was not 3-4 years back, because no one was consuming this amount of data. In India, like you can imagine, we are like almost leading or second highest populated country in the world. And over here, like everyone is getting gracefully 1.5 GB of internet daily for free. So you could imagine if there was a time when we were consuming a GB of data a month, and now there's a time when we are consuming 1.5 GB of data just for nothing a day. We were downloading songs for the entire night and then listening up to them and putting it via Bluetooth, sharing it via Bluetooth, or putting it on your mobile devices. No one downloads the songs today, right? Everyone buffers. So when you buffer, you create a log, you generate the data, right? What kind of music do you want to hear? What kind of movies do you want to look at? Everything is being noted down, right? So that's the amount of data which we are generating today. Now, just the fun facts, like world's data is doubling every 1.2 years. 90% of the data is generated in last couple of years, like 2 to 3 years. And trust me, 80% of the data is unstructured. Do you remember when the internet revolution happened? No one was prepared for it. Similarly, the data revolution happened. No one is prepared for it. There are no standard policies. Right now, Europe has come with a GDPR policy. Other countries are following it. No one knows how to store, how to have data privacies. There needs to be arrangement or structurization done right now. At the moment, what applications we are seeing, we are just sitting it on a pile of data and we are using only 0.5% of the data which is available. So the data which is analyzed today, it's only 0.5% of the stack which we actually have. Now that's the amount of use cases and the amount of data which we are generating. Now in the next one, let us try to understand what exactly do we mean by data analysis and dive into the process of all those different things, right? But this is the amount of data which we are generating as of now, right? I hope you have a clear idea about what scope, what amount of opportunities lie in this segment. Now let us try to understand what exactly do we mean by data analysis. Now data analysis, or basically let us try to understand this with respect to an example. So let me come to your screen. Yeah, perfect. So see, basically whenever we talk about the word data, right, this is a very broad word and it has wide number of meanings. We just generally mean that we are having some 2D architecture like rows and columns, right? Rows are individual entries and columns are like multiple different features of that data. So whenever we say like I have a data of a classroom, I mean that I have first name, last name, gender, age, marks, and all of those things, their mobile number, email number, all of that, right? I have a data of an inventory of a car factory. Again, it would have car number, car model, manufacturing date, what are the parts, what are the features, all of those things, right? I have a data of a banking customer. I have their transactional history. I have their KYC documents. I have their Aadhaar number, ID, unique ID, all of those things, right? Now, this is a raw data where different column means different features and where different rows means different entities or different, basically different individuals entry or items entry, right? Now, whenever you want to analyze such kind of data, whenever you want to extract some kind of information from this kind of data, right, you will take help of data analysis. Data analysis will basically help you out to drive out inference or information or an insight from the data. So basically, if you want to say mapped out that okay, what is an average age of a classroom? What is the highest gender? Is it male or female? What is the highest marks in a particular marks column? What are the average marks? What are the median marks? All of such things, right? If you want to find out any kind of information, then you will have to take help of analytics. And this, everyone, is nothing but data analysis. So these are different techniques, right? Let me go to the definition part. Hey, young man, perfect. So data analytics refers to the quantitative and qualitative techniques and processes used to enhance productivity and business gain. So using basically all of such techniques, you will be able to find out information out of the data. And then these information will help you out to decide or enhance your productivity or increase your business gains. Okay. Now, this can be done with the help of tabular data manipulations, or you could even visualize it. If you want to visualize it, you want to create some graphs around it, bar graph, line graph, pie chart, scatter plot, anything to find out relation or trend. You can take help of data visualization as well, right? So everyone, this is like data analysis. It again, if we dive deep, it has different aspects like descriptive analytics, predictive analytics, diagnostic analytics, inferential analytics, and then you also have prescriptive analytics. So all those things and those different types of analysis are there, right? Like exactly why are you doing it and for what you're doing, it basically depends all those types. Now, the beauty is until now when everyone was working around this, everyone was working around Microsoft Excel. So it is one of the best tool to do this. But the limitation is that again, obviously whatever is good is paid. So Excel is a paid licensed software. And second thing is that you don't need to write any kind of code for it. So it's more of a drag, drop, select and all of those options. The limitation is you cannot apply core huge statistical steps to it so as to generate insight or find some kind of information out of it. And secondly, you cannot handle a large volume of data from Excel. Like suppose you are working in a bank, right? You can imagine how many customers does a single branch of a bank have. Can you see and visualize the entire data in Excel of all the customers? Obviously, your answer should be no. So you cannot handle huge volumes of data for it. So for, again, storing data and handling and all of it, you will have to go to SQL or MySQL to play around the databases. But to work around such kind of data, right, you will have to come to Python or R programming. Now, R programming is one of the language which was exclusively designed for statisticians. So it has a lot of statistical features. So it helps you out in that end. But you cannot productize using R. Like you want to create wonderful dashboards, you want to create web APIs and all of those things, you want to create a web app, you cannot do it in R. As it is a highly statistical language, you have designed it for core data manipulation, statistical processes and machine learning stuff. Python, again a general purpose language, and you will be able to do all of these things pretty easily in Python, right? Now, again, one more, this is the core advantage why everyone is working around Python nowadays. Second thing is that, say for example, now you want to take this data and you want to make predictions out of it, right? Let's move to the next one. You want to make predictions out of it. So for making predictions, then comes your part wherein we try to say, I have data of previous 10 years of sales and I want to predict how much sales would be in the next year or next month. I have my number of years of experience in salaries. Now I want to predict that how much salary is to be given to some employee on the basis of his number of years of experience, right? So if you want to work on some problem of this kind, for that you will have to take help of machine learning algorithms. Now they will help you out to predict, they will help you out to find out anomaly, they will be helping you out to find out the classifications on the basis of your data. So that's where machine learning comes into picture. So machine learning is like highly algorithms. When we say the word algorithm, we mean steps. Now steps to do anything can be an algorithm. I could have a, say from Bangalore, if I want to go to Bangalore airport, if I tell you the navigated path, take first, left, right, all of these things, that is nothing but an algorithm to reach to a Bangalore airport from wherever you are. Similarly, if you want to make statistical steps, procedural steps to reach out to a point, right? And that point is to predict some value, to find out an anomaly or to classify something. Then there are many different ways, and those different ways are nothing but our machine learning algorithms. So we train our data on the basis of previous historical entries, and that's what is an machine learning. So if you try to look at the core definition of it, it says that machine learning is a science of creating algorithms and programs which learn on their own without explicit programming. So they adapt historic data and then predict out entities on the basis of that, and that's what is machine learning. Okay, everyone. Now let us try to understand how machine learning is similar to human learning, right? So I hope that this is clear for everyone until here. Okay, so now let us try to understand that how machine learning is similar to human learning. So basically, how does a human kid learn to talk, right? So in front of him or her, we try to repeat some certain words 100 of times, right? Like say mom, 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 say dad, 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 like that. So that acts kind of input data to the raw kid or to the baby, right? Now, one fine day, so the first step for human learning is like listen how the words are being spoken. And then the next step is like try to pronounce the same word in the similar fashion. The kid will try to say ma, 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 like that, right? And then the kid will iterate over practice, and then finally it will pronounce it right. And then finally, after multiple attempts, it will sound right to the right person, right? So that is how a kid learns to talk. Similarly, machine also learns to predict out anything for you. Now, the first step over there is that get the past data, right? Clean and manipulate and wrangle the data. So you need to do a lot of data pre-processing. And then after doing the data pre-processing, you apply the machine learning model. So you train the model, you give the similar instances to the machine. And then after that, over time it will improve and enhance its performance, right? So that is how a basic machine learning life cycle as well works, very much similar to how human learning works. Okay, so that is why we call it as like it's pretty much similar to human learning. Now what basically is data science? So we have seen until now that what is data analysis and what is machine learning. Now, utilizing machine learning and data science, so the entire phenomenon around the data. So basically, let's try to understand the definition first. So the definition says that the phenomenon of understanding the data by the process of data cleaning, manipulation, wrangling, visualization with the help of statistics for generating insights and forecasting is data science. So basically, data science has two parts. One is descriptive analytics, one is predictive analytics. Descriptive, you try to generate the data, you try to clean the data, you try to manipulate the data, you try to visualize the data, you try to make sense out of data. And then after doing all of that, using machine learning algorithms and statistics, you take decisions and you forecast insight or you predict values from the data using machine learning algorithms. And this, my friend, is data science, right? Now, in this, we have also heard what is AI then. Right? So a lot of you might ask, what is AI? So basically, AI is nothing but when the data is a complex one, like when the data is some kind of image, when the data is some kind of video or a text or a voice, then for understanding, interpreting that kind of data, you need to have some higher deep learning algorithms associated. Your simple basic machine learning problems or algorithms cannot solve those kind of questions, right? You need to provide human intelligence, human learning like structure to the machines. So using the artificial neural network, or what we call it as ANN, you try to understand what is an image, whether it is a cat or a dog, whether someone has worn a mask or not, what the machine is trying to say, what a human is trying to say, interpret it like how humans do, and then reciprocate it back. So that is what is AI. Okay, so according to the definition, it's like so AI is intelligence demonstrated by machine, unlike the natural intelligence displayed by the humans. It deals with the complex data which is in the form of an image, text, or a voice, right? So basically that's what is the thin line difference between AI and DS. Then let us try to understand what are the tools involved in all of the processes, right? So if we can look at these few logos over here, so basically these are nothing but the packages which we have in Python. So first we start with Python. You need to know how Python is, how Python works, and all of those things. Once you have a fair understanding about Python, then you need to how data wrangling, data manipulation in the tabular data is done, or numerical part of Python works. So you go for NumPy. And then tabular data manipulation can be done using a library called as pandas, right? So these are like certain packages using which you can manipulate, play around the data. And then for data visualization, we use matplotlib and seaborn packages in Python. And then going ahead, if you want to apply machine learning algorithms, you use sklearn, or what we call it as scikit-learn. And then on a higher level, if you want to apply deep learning algorithms, image recognition and all of it, you go for TensorFlow, PyTorch, Keras, Spark, and all of those things. And Anaconda and Jupyter Notebook are like the platform or the software or the IDEs which help you to work or run or like process all of this. So basically it's a very wide domain and a lot of things associated with Python and its packages can be done in this. So I hope that basically this has given you a brief this has given you a brief introduction about the entire domain and how the entire data science, data analysis, machine learning, AI, and all of it works, and what tools and what use cases you can basically work out within the same domain, right? So perfect. I hope that you liked it, and like for more information, just go on to fireblazeaischool.in and explore our AIML, DSML, and data analytics professional certifications for a deeper idea about the same, right? Thank you so much.